Hey, what's going on, guys? FPL Yusuf, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be going into our final team selection for match day 5 ahead of the quarterfinal round of the Euros. We're going to be going into my team selection, my confirmed transfers, and we'll also go over some key questions surrounding certain players as well. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me for another video today. As you guys can see, it's a little bit of a different surrounding in today's video. It's only going to be for today. I'm trying to make this video on the fly so I can get it uploaded to you guys at least before Fridays, just to give you guys some time to watch it and sort of have a think about your teams. So let's start off with my confirmed transfers. So as you guys can see on the screen, I've made 3. Haven't used the chip this week. I've used all 3 of my free transfers. Now, two out of the 3 of the players that I was talking about in my last video, if you see my transfer targets, one of them has slightly changed. So let's start with that one first. Now, Mark Gahey was obviously suspended for coming into this game week. Now, I probably would have kept him had he been eligible to play, but obviously he's picked up the yellow card, which ruled him out for this game. So I needed a replacement. Now, originally Pepe was the player I spoke about in my last video, and he was the one I wanted to go for. However, I hadn't watched Netherlands play their game, and I liked what I saw from them. I know it was against Romania, so there is a contrast with the level of opponent they were playing. However, I did like the way Netherlands played. I like the way they defended, and in particular, Stefan de Vrij. Now, I've looked back through his previous game weeks, and he actually racks up a lot of interceptions, a lot of ball recoveries. So for me personally, because I already had João Cancelo in my team, I didn't want to double up on Portugal because, like I said in my last video, I do think that France will score. So it made sense for me to maybe go somewhere elsewhere. And I think out of all the quarterfinal games, I think Netherlands have got the easiest fixture against Turkey. Not that it's going to be an easy game, but I think on paper they have got the best one. So yeah, my first transfer is Mark Gahey's out and Stefan de Vrij is in. Second transfer, now this one pained me a little bit because obviously Gakpo did so well for me at the end of last game week, come away with a goal and an assist. But I do think there is something about Harry Kane, and I do expect him to turn up at some stage. Now, I could be wrong, and maybe he doesn't. Maybe England carry on playing the way they've been, but I just can't conceivably believe that they're going to keep playing this bad. And I think Harry Kane's due a return. So this is the game week I've taken a gamble on. I've got rid of Cody Gakpo and I brought in Harry Kane as my second transfer, which, like I said, I know it's a bit of a risk, but it's one that I'm willing to take this time. And I just kind of wanted some Netherlands cover in there. So that's why De Vrij made sense as well as the first sub. So yeah, he's going to be my second one. And the last transfer that I was looking at doing, and again, this one still hasn't been confirmed yet, so we're going to wait and see. I'll put a picture of my team up, what I think it's going to look like come the end. But yeah, at the time of recording, the last transfer is a one that's sort of tossing and turning with me, and it is a possibility of getting rid of Ilkay Gundogan out of my team. Like I said, the last video, Fabian Ruiz was sort of top of that list to bring in, but we will see. So yeah, those are on screen now. The top 2 have been confirmed. I've made those transfers already. My last free transfer, I'm still umming and ahhing about it, what position, what player to have in. But yeah, hopefully by the time I get to recording my my team selection on this part of the video, I would hopefully have an update for you guys. Okay, so as you guys can see on the screen now, this is my team that I'm going to be going into. All the transfers have been confirmed. I know my last section that you just watched, I was and ahhing about the midfielder, but as you can see on the screen, I have made the transfer and I have confirmed it. So I'm not going to go through every single player on this team. We'll just generalize and go through the main points of it. So in goal, kept the same keepers, Pickford and Neuer, both playing on separate days. So obviously, if you don't know by now, just put the keeper who's playing first date-wise in, and then if they perform, amazing. If they don't, then you've always got a second chance with your sub. So yeah, keepers I won't really touch on too much. Defenders, I have still continued to go with my French double up. I do have a feeling that France are going to, me personally, I think that this game against Portugal is going to be a very tight one. I don't think there'll be a lot of goals scored. So I think it's going to be a battle of the defences. Now, I've got 3 players in the back line who are going to be playing in that. I've got a double French defence in Koundé and Saliba, and I also have João Cancelo as well, who actually, if you watched Portugal's last game, was exceptional all game long. So it's going to be a close one. I do think France will edge it just, and I do expect them to keep a clean sheet. I think it will be a 1-0. I don't know if Portugal have enough to score against them. Who knows? Anything can happen on the day, but I've set up in mind of a France win and hopefully a France clean sheet. Carvajal's also in the defence. Like I said, Spain have been, on the eye for me, the best team at the tournament, and defensively they've been the best team at the tournament as well. They obviously have a hard game against Germany, which we're going to come on to when we get to the midfielders. But yeah, I think for me, I needed one Spanish defender in there, and Carvajal, sort of guaranteed that right back spot. Just made sense to me. So yeah, I've gone for Carvajal in there, and yeah, we're gonna see how this team plays out. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of contrasting views on teams and players because obviously everyone's playing against each other now. But I think you just got to try and pick the best players for each position as you can. And also it comes down, obviously you need a bit of luck, but it also comes down to how you feel the game's going to go. So that is kind of like my starting defence. We go straight into the midfield now. I'll start with the first confirmed transfer, the one that I was umming and ahhing about in the last section. So I have made the transfer and I have gotten rid of Bernardo Silva and gone for Fabian Ruiz. Now, there's kind of two reasons why I've done this. Number one, I think Fabian Ruiz with the ball recoveries does offer an extra route to points, which obviously is always a good thing. But number two, I do feel like Spain have got more of a chance of progressing through than Portugal do. Now, I will be wildcarded next week in the semi-final, so it doesn't really matter to me whether I have a mass changes or not, or who goes through, because I can just literally just, I've got to have unlimited transfers. But for any of you guys who are watching this video and who are maybe thinking about, you know, teams and who's going to go through, you don't want to, like, maybe you've used your chips and you don't want to like take hits at this point. That's fair enough. I do expect Spain to beat Germany actually. It will be a tight game as well, the same way France and Portugal are. But I think, as I said, Fabian Ruiz roots the points wise. I think he's been very prolific in front of goal as well for them. But I think also just the ball recovery thing for me is enough to send that over Bernardo Silva. Nico Williams obviously in there as well. So we've got a quadruple up on Spain running through the whole team. But we'll get on to the rest of them in a minute. Nico Williams, again, just phenomenal against Georgia last week. And he's just been such a standout for Spain in the tournament and caps off just such a great team effort from them. Then we go over to the team that they're playing, that is Germany. Now, like I said, Jamal Musiala for me was kind of the one that I wanted to keep and the one that I felt like, okay, if Germany are going to do anything, more often than not, it's going to come through him. As we saw in, I think it was their last game that they won a penalty, and unfortunately Gundogan was on the pitch and didn't take it. So it looks like Havertz is their main penalty taker now, which kind of dampens it a little bit on Gundogan. But, you know, sometimes you just need to fill a space in the team. So yeah, I've gone for them. But like I said, Musiala would be the guy that I'm looking at more so than Gundogan or Havertz or Wirtz, just because I feel like he's kind of essential to what Germany are doing and the way they are playing. Obviously, my other midfielder on the bench is Jude Bellingham. He's someone that, you know, for me personally, he's good because obviously he's playing on the Saturday, so you've got a chance to see how the team progress and see how they play. And if you need to make the change, you can. But yeah, for me, he's just a no-brainer. He just goes without saying. So yeah, that is my midfield on my team. And the forward line is, as I said in my last video, as it was going to be my transfer target one, it is Mbappe, Yamal, and Kane. Now, Kane is obviously on the bench for obvious reasons. He plays on Saturday. Yamal and Mbappe started. I've gone for the captaincy on Mbappe because, like Harry Kane, and I said I think he's due a return and due a performance. I think Mbappe is the same. Mbappe only has one goal so far, and it's from a penalty spot. Now, France are going to need him to be at his peak of his powers to get through, because Portugal, like I said, it won't be an easy game, not by any stretch. And even if France do get through, they're going to meet the winners of Germany and Spain in the semis. So, yeah, they're going to need Kylian Mbappe firing on all cylinders. And France haven't really looked that good going forward, to be honest with you. So I think Mbappe, there has to be a time where he turns up. And, you know, with him, he can just turn it on like that. So, yeah, for me, captaincy-wise, I've gone for him. Yamal, same reason as Nico Williams. Had a great tournament so far. Maybe hasn't got the numbers that he deserves, but in terms of the eye test and the way he's playing, phenomenal. And he's just a revelation. So, yeah, for me, Yamal, I had him last week, got to keep him this week. And like I said, if worse comes to worse and Spain do lose, then we just wildcard them all out next week. And it goes the same for Harry Kane as Mbappe. Like I said, he's due a performance, and I think England are due a performance more so. So hopefully this will be the week that they end up getting the points and getting the returns for us. Okay, so I'm just going to go over like our top 3 key questions surrounding this game week. I know there's probably going to be like a lot of questions because some people may well be using chips and you're looking to who to go to. Now, I think one of the biggest questions is the French defence. Where do you go with that? How many do you go with? If you're wildcarding, if you're limitless, do you stack them all up in defence? Because the midfield for France really isn't an option. There's not really many key players that I would say look like they're interesting to me personally. So where do you look across the French back line? Now, I think, to be honest with you, this is going to sound so bad, but I think you look at everyone bar Upamecano. I think Saliba, Theo Hernandez, and Jules Koundé all have their own pros and their own cons. Now, I think the pro for them as a collective, they've been very good defensively throughout the tournament. Saliba has the ball recoveries. Koundé also has good ball recoveries, and Theo Hernandez has the assist threat because he flies up. And if Mbappe is playing out on the left-hand side, it's going to give him space to go forward. For me personally, I would put Saliba first. I'd go Koundé second, and it's very close between them two, by the way. And Theo Hernandez just third, because I just don't think Hernandez has the ball recoveries as the other two do. And if France do lose the clean sheet, that could be quite a big factor as to how you get extra points from it, especially if some of these games go to extra time. You know, we saw Pepe in the last round rack up 14 ball recoveries just because the game went through to play the extra 20 minutes in extra time. So, yeah, I think for me, Koundé and Saliba just above Theo Hernandez. And if I had to pick between both of them, I would probably just go Saliba, but it's only just. Okay, second question. What do we do with the England players? Now, Switzerland in the quarterfinals, on paper, at the start of the tournament, I think every England fan would have taken that. However, seeing the way both teams have been playing so far, Switzerland have been playing the better football. They've been the better team. However, just because they've been playing better doesn't mean that they're automatically going to get a result. We saw with Austria and Turkey, going into that game, I think a lot of people had Austria as favourites because they had been the better team throughout the tournament, and yet Turkey were the ones who beat them and went through. England aren't like Turkey. England have got world-class players in most positions, especially in the forward line, and all it takes is that one moment for them to turn it on, and Switzerland are going to be in trouble. Now, it's all ifs and buts at this point because so far, the first 4 games, England have looked probably one of the worst teams in the tournament, despite having all that talent. But just because they're on the pitch, there's always the opportunity and chance that they are going to turn it on. Which is why I've gone for Bellingham and Kane in my team personally. I just think that they can't go through the whole tournament playing this bad. At some point, they're going to have to turn up, and someone's going to have to stand up and be counted for in that England team. We saw Bellingham against Slovakia right at the death. He was the guy, and then Kane obviously got the goal. But there needs to be more emphasis on starting well and just going through the motions and keep playing well. So for me personally, and on the England players, I do think they're a viable option. They have one of the better defenses in the tournament as well. So I do think it's not a question of like you only focus on the attack because the defense haven't really got the world-class names that the attack do. I think all options are viable. My only question is I wouldn't go heavy on them. So for me, I've got 2 players. I think 2 is enough. If you want to go for an attacker and a defender, maybe an attacker and a midfielder like I have, then, fair enough. I wouldn't go much more than that though, because I think there are other options out there which have a higher ceiling and a higher chance of scoring. And the final question is around captaincy. Now, captaincy this tournament it's gone okay for me personally, but I know a lot of people have put emphasis on the Lukakus, the Ronaldos, the Kanes, and they haven't really delivered. So where do we look at on captaincy on this? I'm going to give you my top 3 players that I've got. Now, Mbappe has to be on there because, like I said, France will rely on him heavily going forward because he is the only one who has that sort of star factor that can score a goal out of nothing. And he's their best attacker. He's arguably the best player in the world right now, so he has to go in there without default as a captaincy choice. The second one I'm going to go for, it's between the Spanish boys, and it's between Yamal and Nico Williams. As of right now, after what I've seen last game, I'd probably swerve just towards Nico Williams a little bit more than Yamal. However, I think both are a viable option. I think Nico Williams obviously offers the clean sheet point, the extra goal for a midfielder. He's got more chance to get ball recovery. So I think there's a little bit more extras that come with him. But Yamal too is a fine option. But I would personally just prioritize Nico Williams over Yamal, but only just. And the final captain I'm going to go with, and it's a rogue one, and it is going to be Harry Kane. I don't want to keep going over the fact that England has to turn up and the reasons why it's important that he turns up, but I just think he's on penalties for England. He is their main man. He's their captain. Whether you agree or disagree that he should be starting, Gareth Southgate will start him, and he will play through most of the game. I think the only reason why he got subbed last game against Slovakia is because England were winning. I think Southgate knew that they could hold on. But if it's another close game that goes extra time, I think you'll see Kane play it all the way through. So there's a lot of opportunities for him to actually get a goal. With the attacking talent he's got around him, that can happen. So yeah, for me, Kylian Mbappe number 1. I've gone for Nico Williams number 2, and I've gone for Harry Kane in at number 3. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. I'm going to get this one uploaded hopefully today, and just in enough time because obviously the quarterfinals start tomorrow. 5 p.m. kickoff the first game, 8 p.m. for the second game. We'll get through the weekend, and then I will make another video. I'll do a wildcard draft from next week, and then we'll do transfer targets and final team selection all around the semi-finals, and we'll just talk about what's happened, who's gone out, which teams have gone through, and a little bit more, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So for now, thank you guys so much for watching. If this video has helped you, or if you've enjoyed it, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. I'd be very grateful. And yeah, like I said, I will be back after this weekend. I hope everyone's team goes well, and I'll catch you in the next video.